saying earlier on regarding a driver taking his truck to the gate where you worked formerly and highlighting the defect in the truck. And by the time he returns, he will pick the truck in that same location where he left it, and all the defects will have been fixed. We also have a post-trip inspection unit here, where a driver returning from a trip is expected to pass through, and the truck will be inspected. Most of the times, the technicians there doing the checking will ask the driver some of the problems with the truck, and most of the drivers, because they are aware that some of the parts needed to get these trucks fixed are not available, they sometimes are economical with the truth. They won't say the actual fault on the truck. They will only maybe list the ones they know that can be fixed at that time. And once this is done, the truck is now expected to embark on a trip. And while on the trip, you discover that it has a breakdown as a result of maybe those defects that were there that were not highlighted or fixed. So in such case, that's the question, sir.
They are not spares. You know, when it comes to theft, it's simple. A defect on a vehicle means the vehicle cannot be operated at its normal capacity, isn't it? Something is missing. And there's no, in my understanding, all defects have to be attended to. Because, let's say somebody neglects a signal light, an indicator, right? And we say it's a small issue. The indicator is a small issue, the truck can go. Do you know what that indicator can cause? Trucks, by nature, they are driven slowly, isn't it? So somebody will be coming, knowing that this is the nature of the trucks. They are always driven slowly, they are always slow on the road. So let me overtake, because my vehicle is faster than the truck, isn't it? So now, that person is right. But now, because the truck has got no indicator, there is no turning signal, it will simply start turning maybe to the right, isn't it? Or to the left. Yeah? Especially, we are talking about to the left. Yeah? It starts turning to the left. The other guy wants to overtake because the truck is slow. But now there is no signal, there is no indicator to show that the truck wants to turn. By the moment it's doing like that, this guy is already here. You find, these are the cases you find a car hits at a fuel tank or at a battery side, people die. Because of what? An indicator. From here it was a small issue, a very irrelevant issue, but that indicator maybe has costed a family's life who are traveling in that car. So in that case, what would have been the best thing to do? Are we together? What would be the best thing to do?
If I want to respond in this manner, the best thing to do under a normal situation is to ensure all defects are being fixed before the truck embark on each journey. But if I should understand where Tanko is coming from, as you earlier narrated in your encounter when you just joined the Dangote example, there's like a norm in Dangote that sometimes some things are not normal, but we tend to make them normal. I remember the year 2021 when as safety we wanted to ensure that trucks without complete 22 tires, that are articulated trucks, should not load. Then that becomes a serious issue, that there's enough cement for evacuation, we cannot stop the evacuation. There is target, there is pressure, that trucks must move to load. So at that point, okay, they need to meet a certain number of tonnage on daily basis. So we have to shift it again to say, okay, when you load, you will not go. So after scaling at dispatch here, you back. So before you know, we have 3-7 trucks packed loaded, because some have 2 tires not there, some have 3 tires not there, but they are loaded with 45 trucks. So the management have to put pressure. So at the end of the day, we have to abandon the whole thing of checking tires. So we have trucks going on the road without complete tires. So it's kind of like something that is within the management, or something that is abnormal but seems to be been normalized, because this is the damn thing. So that's why I think, if I understand, that's why I'm asking, how can we do in this kind of scenario or situations?
You see, the problems that we have as a company, they should help us in planning also. Because this is not the first incident. It has happened before. So how do we plan? What is our budget? Citing those issues, do we put them into, okay, this year we have these challenges? Fine. Are we going to go through these challenges again next year? Are we seeing that? So what should help us? Maybe we didn't have enough tires in stock. What is our budget? Are we increasing the budget so we can have more tires? Are we seeing that? So it's something that business has to run, but it has to run safely. Even when there are no tires in Zambia, and when now they have to order brake shoes, isn't it took time? Have you seen that? It took time, but eventually we had put our record straight, because business will not stop running. When your vehicles become dangerous, hazardous to the road, you also have a reputation to keep. Okay? And we cannot force trucks to go on the road because of business. Third parties can also take part, but that will pressurize our department, also the transport, isn't it? The transport head now will be jumping up and down, because they will also be asking him, why are your trucks not running? Why are we depending on third parties, isn't it? So the whole thing, each one should do his job. At the end of the day, you find we are increasing the budget, we are increasing. Eventually we'll find ourselves improving. But it should start with knowledge first. Do people understand what they are doing? Do they understand that running a vehicle full of defects is dangerous? Do they understand that? When people begin to understand that, it helps a lot. It helps a lot. So, it's a matter of teamwork. We know the system. The fleet officer wants the trucks to run, isn't it? That's the target, yeah? But when the fleet officer flips the trucks, the safety also the government, why are trucks falling, yeah? Isn't it? Training comes in. Did you have enough training for these people to know what they are doing? So, we need to move further. First, educate the driver to understand the dangers of driving a defective vehicle, this and that and that and that. Then they will bring back to the fleet officer, isn't it? My truck is this and that. The fleet officer also has where he reports, isn't it? We have a system, eventually that will attract a meeting. Is that also? It will attract a meeting. Where are we failing? Where are we doing this? When it comes to planning, it should help us. When we're increasing the fleet, planning also should help us. In order for us not to stop trucks from running because of lack of tires and so on, we increase our capacity to this level, isn't it? Eventually, it's a teamwork. But when we neglect, no, because there's this pressure, that pressure, it will come with a cost. Eventually, that's why you find the company is too attentive. No, when the truck has flipped, the company will issue a very quick statement. That truck does not belong to the body. What are they trying to protect? It's a reputation, isn't it? So, we cannot do a cosmetic of a type of reputation. We want to have a good reputation when we don't meet the standards. No. We have the capacity to meet the standards. Educate the driver. He will be making the right reports to the fleet officer. The fleet officer will take it further to the next level. Are we together? But it starts with what? Education.
Yes, I think you answered the question when they asked about. You have answered it all, that it starts with education. Many a times, like the example Mr. Jesse cited, that when we were doing the campaign of not putting in complete tire trucks on the road, I wouldn't say it was management that actually due to the pressure. I think it was safety department that declined from that campaign, because I did remember, for instance, this reflective jacket we are putting on now. When it was first introduced, it's not everybody that complies. But it came to a point that they didn't make it a point at that entry gate that before you access a need, you must wear it. And today, if you are leaving your house, I think that is the first thing you will look for when you are coming to work. So, even the drivers, there are sometimes they have known that they cannot even come into their main or access the plant without a reflective jacket. So, this compliance now is because of the persistence from safety department. I remember when we joined this company in 2016, 2017, there are times, even you as a staff here, you will be afraid, ashamed to identify a truck on the road. You see truck going on the road without a bumper and bonnet. Some say they will use rope to tie their axle. But now we don't see those things. It's because of the level of input the education, the persistence we have put in. So I think if safety can still, like you said now, yes, pressure is there, but try to let management understand the danger that it will cause. At the end of balancing the budget and whatever, they will see that they are spending more than what it is, what they are ought to. If you put in a truck that, okay, most of the times we see our trucks that park at trailer park with good tires, they will be there 6 months, 1 year, the tire will not be used, the tire will expire there. So if instead of putting incomplete tires on the road, there are tires that can be transferred, you go through the process. But here, I think the education has to start from up to the last line, which is the front line drivers. Everybody should know what to do and when to do it, so that the implementation will go well. Thank you.
Yeah.
To add to what Mr. Philip concerning the reflective jacket, one of the reasons why I think that the implementation held was because management actually drove it. Like, for example, now Mr. Luca, I remember the time that he was saying that if you don't want your reflective jacket, don't come to meeting. He will for the officers to also join it with their drivers. Don't attend to your drivers if they are not wearing reflective jacket. So from what Mr. Jesse is saying is, if management has supported that, if a truck doesn't have competency tires, it shouldn't move. I think it should have stood. But because management did not give their full support, that was why it stopped.
After the class, come on for the round. That is unsafe.
Yes. Guiding this So,
management commitment.
Just like Jennifer said, if there is no management behind it will not fly. Okay, one class. There's a training that we had comparing profit and safety. Every business is after profit, not minding the safety aspects. I think for us here, there is more emphasis on profit than safety. If trucks are impounded on the road, management don't mind to pay. They will gladly approve the money, go and get the truck out. That doesn't mean the same truck will still not go on the road with the same defects. If it is arrested again or impounded, they will still pay. So perhaps what they are paying is less than what they are making. So it's like a trade-off. Okay, if I make 1,000 naira, and out of the 1,000 naira, I'm buying safety with 1 naira. So why should I spend so much on safety when I can buy safety with 1 naira? Not minding the lives that are lost eventually. So I think the bottom line is still management buying in all this safety process. But I think one thing can work, just like you said, drivers education. If drivers should drop key today, that they are not driving because their trucks are defective, management will rise. So I think we can still go that route. Keep educating the drivers. By the time drivers know what to do and what their right is, the power they have to say no to driving an imperfect truck, I think management will listen rather than officers or managers proposing.
Yeah, yes.
Yes, good morning. I think, Jide, you have hit the nail on the head. I don't want to be pessimistic, so to say, but we need to understand one thing. As you said, the basic thing is to empower the drivers, for them to know their rights and to do the right thing. If you look at Zambia, this is our country. It's a different environment entirely. The operations environment is different. Now, you said something that if there are defects when it comes to safety of Dangote truck, it may be banned. So that place they enforce the laws. But in our own country, it's a different scenario entirely. There will never be enforcement by the laws. So if, for instance, when they are talking about reflective jacket and this and that one is immaterial. It has nothing in direct proportion to output or loading. The management is looking at the bottom line. The more trucks you take out of the plant, the more money is being made. So thinking of if you want if you want to put down your truck because of one safety defect or the other, the management will not listen. Because in fact there was a time I've been sending mails concerning issues of truck. Therefore, I cannot do it. Please don't report me.
You see,
You understand? So if not that way, to be sincere, these things will continue and safety will still suffer. That's the